Hello.
Hi guys.
Oh, I really felt like I was on the verge of a Marky Butt. Is it even him?
Hello.
What's up, guys? What if we start doing
Good
that?
morning, good afternoon,
Good evening, good night.
night.
It could be 2 a.m.
Good day.
Top of the morning. Good one.
Yeah.
So here we are again.
Yeah.
I'm Eliz.
I'm Lilyemma.
Welcome back to Blonde Vibrations.
Hope you're all well. For once, we don't have anything to say in this weird little intro.
We're at the start of our day, and it's a very exciting day. So I feel like a lot of anticipation, and it's not. Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited to record this episode. I think it's a very interesting one. I'm really excited for the rest of the day.
Yeah, we were saying to our housemate this morning, it's been a while since we've had a podcast day. I feel like nowadays when we have a podcast day, it's because we're recording, tuning in, so we're in the studio like all day. But in life, we don't really have podcast days anymore, whereas we used to set a day a week aside, whereas now it's always spread. And today feels like a podcast day. We're recording, we're writing, we're meeting,
and
we're editing.
Not even to be those people, but there's just like a lot of exciting things coming up.
Yes.
Like, and that's not in like a hiding things for me because it's really not that deep. But it's like Blonde Vibrations as a whole concept is really defrosting right now.
Yeah.
It always tends to just after this time of year, going into summer, but it's like we've just revved that up and brought it forward.
Yeah, I nearly put something on the Blonde Vibrations close friend story the other day, being like, I wish we could share more of behind the scenes, and maybe we need to start documenting things a bit more so that once things come out we can vlog it and share a bit more. But recently, more than ever, I've just wanted to be like, we actually but it's something here, but we can't because we we're not telling you things because there's nothing technically to tell. There's things in the early stages, but also you don't want to jinx it.
Evil eye is real.
So it's really difficult because I'd love to just go on the close friends and be like, guys,
yeah.
But I agree. I think it's a really good time. I think things are happening. Yeah,
watch it up. So today, this is a really interesting topic. I think we've delved on it slightly, but never to this extent. Let's just tell you.
I feel like it's very candid in its.
There's no real right or wrong. It's not necessarily advice giving. It's just kind of what we think about it. Yeah. So it started with we've over time in our history decided that we would probably have been friends in high school.
Absolutely. Notoriously, we say that our teenage years, particularly, we were parallel lines, and we believed that at any point those lines could have crossed. They just crossed when we were older. 18, 19.
We were ships in the night until the ships did collide.
Yeah, and we were just doing the same things. We were acting the same way online. We liked the same things. Like, it is weird that we were so similar.
Yeah.
And the point in which we met, we were still experiencing things at the same time.
Yeah, so we've kind of came to that conclusion among ourselves. So the question for today is, would you still be friends with the people that you met in your adolescence if you met them today?
Which is I feel like it's almost controversial to say.
Yeah.
I feel like as a question that feels really mean.
Yeah, because it's suggestive of we don't gel. We shouldn't be friends.
Or that you think that you're better than someone,
Yeah.
or I don't know, that you're just using people for certain times. But I think there's more happening. I think especially in your 20s, there's a lot of growth and changes. And yeah, it's weird. Eliz kind of came with the question. And I do actually think that the other day I saw my friend from home who now lives here, and I don't see him often. And we were kind of speaking about a similar thing and how it's really weird that we've changed so much as people, but we still get along, yet we've both outgrown people from home, yet that's the friendship out of like not many that did stay, and you've got a lot of friends like that as well.
Yeah, I think similarly, we're not going to say the names of the people on the podcast, but my version of your person you're talking about from home who moved away, I always think like we probably wouldn't be friends if we met now. It's not a bad thing. It would just be very unlikely we wouldn't find ourselves in the same situation to have crossed paths. We just did at school, and it's all love now.
Yeah, notoriously, the friend that I saw was like really like, we were high school friends. He was horrible to me. like he will say that we were very weird. We were a group of just like weirdos, and if you were like, not to be like, I'm a weirdo, have you ever seen me like that? But if you grew up in like a very geeky, unpopular circle, you'll know that the drama of that friendship group is so toxic for no reason. And I think this is a common thing. Yeah, this is a common thing. Like, we weren't theatre kids, we were kind of below theatre kids. And it was just so like weirdly toxic. And he was really horrible. And like, even now and then I think about things he says, and I'm like, oh my god,
out of pocket.
Yeah, and then randomly, I think we were friends at this point. Randomly, I think he turned around to me and was just like, oh, you know, like, I actually was really, like, not nice as a kid. And I was like, yeah, you weren't. And then, like, we get kind of this second lease of friendship. And maybe that's the difference. Maybe it's, like, the friendship hasn't transitioned. It's just, like, a secondary thing.
Yeah, because you're always going to change as people. Think about you 15 years ago to now. If you haven't grown in yourself at all, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, there's some people that I was friends with back in the day at school and we wouldn't have met now. And that is the difference, is now we are not friends, because as we grow into the people that we were always meant to be and our paths destined to become these other people, we couldn't be friends. Like, there's just no way that we would ever be able to sit down and have the same sort of discussions as we used to, because we're just not there anymore. Both of those are okay. And my example that I was trying to not forget before is Rory Gilmore, okay? Rory and Lane, friends at school, still friends growing up. I think if they met as adults, they wouldn't be friends.
Yeah.
I think they were tied with the love of music and creativeness and whatever, but I think who they became as people by the end of the series, they wouldn't have interacted in that same way. For so many reasons. Their personalities, the fact that Lane was, spoilers, married with kids and whatnot, and Rory
their paths just wouldn't have crossed.
Yeah, but on the flip side, I think the way Rory and Paris became friends, they could have that exact same setup with who they were in the future, because they weren't tied by almost like the childlike things that bring you together.
Yeah.
They were tied by almost like hate to love you, love to hate you, which you can always have.
So do you think that the friendships that are more likely to last then are friendships that are based on, I guess, maybe personality rather than experience, or the other way around?
I'm not sure exactly where I lie. I've kind of thought of this whole thing as a Venn diagram, that when you are friends with someone young, you know, you're at school together or whatever, your Venn diagram, the crossover of who you are as people, there's so much more of an overlap, because it's not just...
Because you're at school, you're both studying, you both probably like the same things, because that's how pop culture works.
Yeah, all you really know is kind of school, where you fall in that pyramid at school, and it's probably similar if you are friends, you know, chips after school, what goes on, playing Club Penguin after school, like, it all kind of revolves around this one sphere. As you grow up, the two routes are, the overlap kind of stays the same, might get bigger. You might realise that, wow, we've really grown into similar people and it's amazing. Or it gets smaller and smaller. You could end up two distinct circles.
Do you have anyone that you think that the similarities grow as you grow up?
I think me and Caitlin. Yeah, because I think me and Caitlin, I don't think she'll mind me saying this at all, kind of similar to what you were saying, like, I think we get along a lot better now. I think we would be a lot at odds with each other a little bit more, because we really liked each other. We didn't have as much in common,
Yeah.
And now I think we've grown up and we have way more of a common ground. We view the world in the same way as well.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the friendships that I have that have lasted, it's almost like the Venn diagram of our interests, our passion shrink, but then the way we view things are the same. Like me and this friend, we actually don't have that much in common. We don't work the same jobs. We don't really do the same things for fun. Like, we have like a slight music taste overlap, but like not really. Like, there's not, if you actually think about it, there's not that much in there. But I agree. I think the way that we see the world, the way that we approach situations, and just our general outlook on life, I think that is why the friendships last longer than a lot of others, maybe.
I think it's also the fact that you do have these distinct passions, careers, hobbies, whatever, even entire lifestyle differences. Someone could be married or in a long-term relationship. Someone could never want that at all. I think it also lies in the respect that you have for each other's different lanes. You know, if you were really close with someone at school and then they decided to, you know, travel the world, so you actually never see them, and you think, well, she's just left me now. Why would you do that? Like, the rest of us are, you know, doing our careers here and you've done that. You're not having respect for the lane of difference you have. So maybe if you met now, you wouldn't really be friends.
Yeah.
But if you can respect and honour each other in that way, maybe you would still be friends today, because you're so different, but your hearts align. I know that's cringe to say, but like, your souls are still there for each other.
Yeah, I guess that's also because we're such strong believers in if it's meant to be, it'll be, and platonic soulmates. And I feel like this is something we talk about a lot on the podcast. We talk a lot in interviews, any conversation ever. I think we're such strong believers in fate. And someone asked me the other day, this is a little bit off topic, I said something about like, oh yeah, I manifested this, or like yeah, like just really willed this to happen. Yeah, I was like, oh, I really manifested this. And they were like, oh, you're religious then? And I was like, no.
Oh.
I was like, no. And they were, oh, like, it just really sounded it. And I was like, no, I just kind of believe that what's meant to be will be. And I've never really attached anything. I do think maybe, like, we are a bit, like, more on the spiritual side, I guess, of that. But in that moment, I guess because I don't really put labels on anything ever, I was like, whoa. Like,
that's interesting.
I've never actually thought of, like, this isn't me having, like, a big, like, religious epiphany, but I just kind of thought, like, if you guys sometimes listen to us talk about this, it might sound like that, but like, please don't take it as me trying to like put a religion on you and be like, it's meant to happen. But anyway, tangent. But yeah, I believe that people are meant to meet and are meant to be in each other's lives. I don't necessarily believe that that is always forever. And I think that can be kind of shocking as someone and as people who I feel like get quite attached to situations and people, and we build quite strong bonds. I don't think we ever really do anything in halves. I think when we meet someone, even if it's like a guest on the show, where like, I want you in my life and I want this to be like an actual friendship, and
that is a friend.
We like full send. And I think sometimes it can be shocking then when we have this opinion of like, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be in my life forever.
Because people can be lessons, not people in your life forever.
And I also, as I grow up, and I think it's a painful realisation, is that I also really believe that people can like suit your life for a certain amount of time, and I really hate that. And I really hate that I've become that person. Again, I found myself saying it the other day. I was like, oh, I hate that, because it's so like sad. And as someone who gets really attached to people, I think that's really sad to think, oh, well, actually that person was only meant for that time, or that person was there to help you get through something. And it's something that I don't necessarily think we found comfort. We've had friends collectively that have randomly just stopped, and I think that's a really painful thing, and I think we still harbour like upset from that. But I also think you do look at it at a certain point and think, that person was there for that reason.
Well, I think there's someone who, again, we're not going to name names.
Imagine, we just went through this whole episode just naming every friend, ex-friend that we've ever had in our lives.
I had a really close friend in first year of uni. I'm not friends at all with them now. And actually, if I met them now, we'd probably collide in a way that we couldn't be friends. And I was really pained by that situation kind of ending. But looking at it from a healed perspective, that's okay that we were friends then and not now, because me in first year wanted to go out all the time partying and be very carefree, go out doing whatever, and that person really served it well. Any time I wanted to go out, it was let's go, like I'm literally already getting the drinks in. And the friendship breakup was nothing to do with alcohol, like, let me just put that out there, but you know, that served me for that time, and we wouldn't be friends now. That's fine, whatever, it's okay, because the parallel lines just like went back out again, so it's fine.
I also think it's really easy, especially I think when you're young in that sense, and like I'm thinking about our first years, and it's so easy to meet someone and be like, this is my best friend for life. And it's something that I've said about multiple different people in my life, and I'm aware I'm currently saying this next to my best friend for life, and it feels like I'm like talking about like exes, but I think it's really easy to think, oh, this is my best friend for life, they're gonna serve me forever, I've met it, it's soulmate, it's gonna happen. And yeah, I had a similar thing in first year. I had this person, I was like, oh my god, we're so similar, and then it was like, oh, we're actually not similar for various reasons. And at the time I think, oh god, like that's so cringe and so uncomfortable and so horrible that you thought this person was going to be in your life forever. But I agree, I think that person ultimately then meant that I did meet Eliz. So it is like, I think people serve you, and I don't necessarily think that's in a use everyone and I guess like the world revolves around me way, but in a way of
your world revolves around you.
Yeah,
so.
and I think that you're not making the people serve a purpose. They're just meant to serve that purpose.
And you're serving it back for them. Like, it's not like this is a one-sided thing that you're going and sucking in out everything that you need from someone.
They then go off and live their own lives.
Yeah, they're still out there doing their thing every day.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to forget that when you're thinking about the life cycle of a friendship.
Yeah, and I think it's even easier to kind of get wrapped up in that when you are younger, like going back to the whole school age thing. You meet someone, you don't ever really foresee a life without them. You don't even know what the rest of your life means yet. It's just, we're going to the next upper school, so we're going to carry on that friendship forever. You don't even consider, you know, the other people that you're going to meet when you're still friends with them. You might meet other people and they're way more up your street. It's just you in that moment that you can't really think of anything else. So it's not really surprising that, you know, 10 years later, it's not like you look back at that whole time one day and think, oh, we're entirely different people now. I just realised it in that moment. It's going to be a lot more gradual, and it's only when you reflect on that time, it's, oh, okay, at what point did we change? I hadn't even noticed that we don't talk about the same things anymore. We don't check in with each other in the same way. Maybe it's a little bit awkward when we meet up now. Like, I hadn't even noticed, because you don't wake up and realise it.
Yeah, I've kind of find peace in that. I think the moment I realised that things aren't meant forever, and I think this is also like coming from someone who has like, I'm very like extreme with things. I think when I realised that things aren't meant forever and kind of accepted that, I felt so much more like relaxed about all of my relationships. And I think even now we'll talk and be like, right, well, we'll try and meet up with this person one more time. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's that. Yeah. And that there's no feelings about it. But like, you can only try so many times, and if that person's not matching it, it's just not meant to be right now. And that's not saying that, you know, you're never going to be friends or you're never going to be friendly. It just means that right now you're not in the same place and you don't have the same, I guess, priorities.
And nothing is permanent.
Yeah.
Good or bad. Things can switch up anyway.
Yeah, and I just feel like I love that. I love that I don't necessarily think a friendship needs to end. It can just kind of be put on pause.
Just the back burner.
Yeah, and that being said, I have had friendships where I feel like because I didn't have that comfort in knowing things don't last forever, I feel like they were pushed too far. I had a friend who, for like quite a few years, we weren't the same people. I was kind of, it sounds really mean, and this is never going to be a reel because they're not going to watch this, but they can't find it. Is it like I grew up and they didn't?
Yeah.
And it got to a point where it had been years and I was like, I'm still holding on to this because I thought we were going to be friends forever, but like right now we're not the same people and I've moved on, and you kind of have to be that person to just kind of like, I'm going to put it down because like we're not the same people right now.
If you can't like meet me up here, I don't want to come down to where you are.
Yeah, and I think
almost.
that's really mean, but I think it's that whole idea
It's
of
realistic.
Yeah, and people, that's how people work, and that's how relationships work. And
yeah, I've had a similar thing where like you know this, like there's been a bit of like a struggle back and forth over the last few years with a few people. I don't want to go too specific, but I would continue the friendship with them every time I like went home or whatever. I would, because I was kind of like, oh my god, I've been friends with them for years, so like of course, like we're kind of really different. It's okay though.
Yeah.
And
because you see them like once every few months and you have a nice catch up.
Yeah. And then you kind of come to realise, well, I'm just discussing kind of the same small amount of topics every time.
Yeah.
How much am I really talking about me and my world? Obviously, not every single second of the meetup has to be about me, but a little bit, or, you know, there's a lot going on for me. Like, why do we not celebrate that? Whatever. So I just kind of had to, you know, stop. But then, on the reverse of that, again, this is Caitlin. Caitlin's one person I will always name drop in this podcast.
And every time she's like...
is... You know how I said that we're probably closer now, our Venn diagrams overlap a lot more now? We had a time where we didn't speak that much. Yeah. This was like in the middle of uni. We didn't really speak that much. Like, yes, COVID was also happening, so that's a big... It probably made a lot of these things a lot more clear to see for everyone, to be honest, because you stopped seeing people and you thought, well, do I need to go back and see them then? Yeah. That's not the case of Caitlin, but like we just went through a few months or maybe even a year where we just didn't talk every day, which is not a problem. We just very much do now. We didn't really see each other, and I feel like I maybe just didn't know every update in her life. And then it, you know, rubber band theory, I guess, it just came back. Like, and now we're as tight as ever. It's
and
great.
It doesn't mean that your friendship is any less worthy. I feel like I'm giving you therapy.
No, she's always been a best friend.
But it doesn't mean that your friendship is ever less worthy because you've had months where you're not that close. And I think it's not a situation in which you can put like quality or quantity on it. It's a spectrum, and it's not linear. It's not objective.
One thing I will say about this whole like would you still be friends today, is it a problem, is it's really heightened when you start to consider your new world that you are in and you bring them into this world. How compatible is that? You know, me and you have become friends in a whole other space of time than I had made friends with people at home. I could tell that, you know, me and Caitlin are the right kinds of friends because you and Caitlin gelled together and multiple other people from home.
I guess also you and Becky.
Yeah.
But that's like, I guess even like sorry, Becky. That is like a clear-cut example is that you guys were work friends. Yeah. And then you transcended work, became actual friends. Yeah. And now we're in like this weird team. It's like you have people who can transcend situations and moments of life and types of relationships, and these are the stronger friendships because
if you've built this whole other world, can they be in that world with you? Can you be in their world? It's not just all about you. Maybe you're not the serving friend either to them. If you're going into the situations with this whole world that they've built and you think, oh, I don't even fit here anymore, and it's not necessarily a bad thing as long as it's no one doing it intentionally. Maybe that is a sign that, oh, we wouldn't really be friends because I'm not even growing into this new space. Again, not a bad thing. But if you're finding that all of your friends are meeting, it's just odd. Or like your partner, you're bringing them into this new world, you're going to things with them, and it's just not, what is there left to say? Maybe that is a sign. But then would you cut off the friendship?
So that's what I was saying. As you were saying that, I was like, oh gosh, it's getting so like deep. But I think we're saying all this, friendships should be fluid and they should be like malleable in situations, but I do think we're also saying about like growing out of people and entering new stages, and not that person not entering it with you. But I do think there is like a small percentage of friends that doesn't apply to. I don't think it's an one size fits all. I think the majority of people and the majority of friendships fit into the idea of they need to be able to like move into your life, and you need to be able to move into their life, and if you're in different stages, then just put the brakes on and just pick it back up when you line back up. I do think there are some friends that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
And I guess that goes back to what we were saying at the start of like, if your outlook on life and your opinions stay the same and ultimately your personality and your core stays the same, then why not be friends? I guess maybe that's just we're then falling into the argument of different types of friends and different, like, not everyone, if you're saying that this person doesn't quite fit into your new friendship group, then don't introduce them to your new friendship group and have a different kind of friendship. And I think that's still a valid thing, and I don't necessarily think, I don't want someone to watch this and be like, oh, if my friend's married with kids and I'm still at home working 3 part-time jobs, we can't be friends because we're in different stages of life.
No.
Or she's got this new belief that I don't agree with. Obviously not controversial, but like, do you know what I mean? I don't necessarily think you need to do it. I think in your gut, you kind of know if that's a friendship that can be a standalone thing and can almost be a I don't know, like a little like pocket of maybe like a past you. I think it's really important to honour that, and I think it's important to have people from different stages of your life.
Comes down to how it makes you feel. If you're very happy with it, you can be very candid with someone and say, we met now, we would probably hate each other, but it's all love. We are so different, we're such unlikely friends, but opposites do attract. Like, we are just ourselves in this moment, and it's great that it can be myself in a way that is different to other people. It's not either which one is more myself, it's just different parts of me. That's great. I think it's, my bottom line for it is, can you celebrate the differences and grow with them, or are you just growing in entirely separate directions? Like,
that's good.
Can you still meet in the middle and see eye to eye? Because if it's yes, we're completely different, but we actually do have this one hobby, and that's why we're friends.
I thought you were talking about us then. I was like, are we that different?
I'm going to use this as an example, but I don't mean it in the friendship that that I'm going to talk about. If we never see each other, all we do is drive around together when we see each other once a year, if that is the only thing we have in common, but it's absolutely amazing, it's great, then that is a friendship that serves you. If it's, we said we were going to meet up once a year, even though we have nothing else going on, we get in, it's quite awkward, but we just do it to check that box, maybe that's when you reassess.
Yeah. You've put that in a really good way.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed.
Yeah, if you're clinging on to the history of what you've had, maybe it's time to build a new future. Yeah. But if you celebrate that history and everything else that comes in between and after, and it's just respect, then so be it. It's okay. If you wouldn't be friends now. Yeah,
and I think, sorry, I feel like I'm like, and you feel like you can feel yourself going around in circles, but I do think that is then when the level of comfort with like temporality of friendships, I think that's when that really helps, because when you have the comfort of knowing that maybe this person isn't going to be in my life forever, or maybe this person is going to have months or years where I'm not really that close with them. Once you have the comfort of that, you can decipher whether that person is supposed to be in your life right now. Whereas if you're so rigid in the idea of, everyone is going to be in my life. Everyone that I knew in high school is going to be at my wedding. Like, they're going to be my bridal party. It's like, well, you're not going to be able to decipher between the friendships that are really benefiting you and friendships that are just there for the sake of it. Whereas if you have that understanding that it's no hard feelings and that's just how the world works, you can kind of pick it out a bit easier, and you kind of will know what friendships are supposed to be there.
You never want a friendship for the sake of it. That kind of is the true bottom line.
Yeah.
Like, you know in your heart, if it is just because, you know, if someone asked you the question of why are you friends today, then
People used to always ask me that.
You would either have an answer,
and
you should, if you are friends, be able to, that should roll off your tongue really easily. If I had someone that I barely see and they say, well, why are you friends still? You would have this argument to fight.
Yeah.
If you're kind of met with it,
just
because we've always been friends.
Yeah.
It's an alright argument, sure, but I'm not sure how much it would serve you forever.
And you should still be able to say, oh, we've always been friends, and I actually really like spending time with them. Like, it should be that. But someone who's been there, like, if you're saying, like, oh, just because, like, you might as well.
Yeah.
Like, it would be sad if we weren't friends.
We have too many memories.
Yeah.
Like, think about all those pictures we have together.
And I think...
Take new pictures.
Yeah, and I think the maturity is being able to look at... And I don't know if I've completely got this yet. I think I partially have it, but it's the maturity being able to look at those memories, look at those pictures and be like, we were having so much fun. And separating that fallout or separating that drift and just be like, that's something different. It's a different time. It's a different month.
Yeah.
We were different people by the time that happened. But in that exact moment, we were having so much fun.
Yeah, because you were aligning at that point in time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, the memories can still be memories, even if you're not sharing that with them anymore.
Yeah.
It still happened to you, and it's still part of your story in your life, and that's fine.
I don't know if I can fully do that, though. Can you? Do you feel like you can look at...
I think I would need to think about specific things that I really enjoyed. Because I can't think of just, like, day-to-day right now, but, like, maybe.
That New Year's with...
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Great night. I think I can separate that.
Interesting.
Really good night. Really enjoyable. I think that helps because if it's a group situation,
you can just...
You blah one person from it,
Yeah.
and then it's better. But still so, even when it's one-on-one, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm a very nostalgic person.
I think if I really try, if I really, like, want to, I think I would be able to. I don't think it's my gut feeling.
I think my oxygen is nostalgia. So if I had to not think about past times with everyone that I no longer speak to, that almost is a huge chunk of my life that I can't, like, reminisce over.
All we ever do is reminisce over stories of someone that's not in your life anymore.
Yeah, like, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But I guess that's like a healed position to say it.
Yeah.
But that's in a whole other, situation.
Yeah, sorry, that was like a really, like, broad question.
But it's something to think about. It's some food for thought
Yeah.
as we end this episode.
Perhaps, like, another direction to think in.
Yeah.
So the original question, have we actually answered it? Would we even be friends if we met today? We've tangented a little bit.
Like, it's okay if not.
And I also just
Hopefully it
think,
would
like, as with romantic relationships, I think the, like, alignment of you starting any form of relationship with someone is so, like, coincidental. Like, not to be Taylor Swift mastermind, but I do think that there's no such thing really in, like, I want to be friends with that person, I'm gonna make that happen. I don't think that, again, if you, like, really wanted something, you can't form a relationship over, like, want alone. I think something has had to magnetize you together.
There's some people I would love to be friends with. We repel.
Yeah, and it's just like, you still need that extra, just, like, I don't know, sorry if you're not watching, but I just keep doing, like, kind of, like, magnet feeling. Like,
Something
there just needs to
that
be
fuses you.
Yeah, and I think that ultimately that, like, then you always would be friends if you met today, because there is still that something that's gelling, and I think that's something people don't really think about with platonic relationships. They normally think about it in romantic relationships.
It is the Rory Gilmore, Paris Geller, because they didn't want to be friends particularly, but they had this spirit in between each other that they raised each other up to be the best version of themselves, even though everyone tried to hate on me one time on TikTok for trying to, like, who was I defending? Paris, I think. And it got so many views and everyone was being really mean about it, saying that she was a horrible person. Yes, she had her faults, but support women's wrongs. She made Rory into this person that wasn't just a wallflower, but really fought for what she wanted. And that's why their friendship, when it became one, could transcend, just Chilton, just Yale. But even in the reboot, they've still had that exact same connection.
I also think that that often Paris gets stick because she was one of the kind of, I guess, maybe like sticks on the fire of Rory's downfall.
Yeah.
Would you agree in this? In the sense of, like, I think she was partially, I think there was a lot of characters that almost catalysed Rory's breakdown and, like, crisis. But I also think Rory's crisis needed to happen, and I think that is life. And I think people dislike Paris because they see her as part of that, but I also think Paris wasn't doing anything wrong.
Paris was also included, so I'm not sure how this turned into a Gilmore Girls analysis. My one final point on this: Paris was put in the first season almost as just a plot device. I don't think anyone really knew that she was going to become such a well-loved, respected and important character. So all she was mean in the first few episodes.
She wasn't a three-dimensional character yet.
Like, she was put there to do that, to antagonize Rory, but what she was actually doing, which is how she became a more well-rounded character, was still pushed her and really cared about her in a way. Loved to hate her, hated to love her.
Yeah, and I think she showed Rory parts that Rory didn't want to acknowledge, and that she hadn't really been, like, encouraged to acknowledge negative parts about life and about herself. And I think Rory made her do that, and I think that's kind of a good friend. And I think, yes, Rory like fell apart because of that, but I think you kind of, like, Paris still stayed friends with her through that.
And it's not that Lane was a bad friend in any means, but they just met in a space, and Lane and Rory's first adolescent brains were very similar.
Yeah.
But it was this, like, echo chamber of thoughts, feelings and passion, and it was only when Rory went elsewhere and was exposed to this whole new thing. That's why I think they wouldn't be. The battery died, but it was a great way to say shut up.
Yeah.
You can talk about Rory another day, and I would love to do a whole episode. Yes, like,
should we get your mum on it?
Yeah. Is Rory really the villain? Yes.
Oh, I'd love to do that, but we'd need to do so much research. Like, we'd need to be able to cite specific like episodes.
A little thesis.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I hope that this feels like one of our less scripted episodes, but I hope that it kind of, in a way, provides comfort in that just some things happen and they're uncontrollable. And I feel like it's
not advice.
We've opened more than what we've closed.
As always, we tend to.
Yes.
We like to ask questions that the world has not asked. So anyway,
I've been saying this a lot to people recently, but I said it to Alice, like, yesterday, that I think in questions, and I believe it to be, and I know you do as well, is that, like, my thoughts don't come as statements, and even if they come as statements, they'll be, like, followed on by, like, a little added question. And I think that's, like, unpopular, but I just think, like...
Well, when I was on my way to work yesterday, I planned an interview and I wrote it.
Fair.
It's not for someone in particular, but I had a really good, like, vision for, like, quick fire questions for someone if we happened across them. at a festival or something, and it's really good. I'll show you.
Yeah, so like I think that really shows in this episode. We just kind of like, that was just us pondering for 45 minutes. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed.
All we do is can't help but wonder, and we couldn't help but wonder all the time.
Yeah.
But send this to the Rory Gilmore in your life.
Yeah.
Send this to your friend that will see you through every stage of your life, and send it to someone that won't. And don't let them know what it is.
Yeah.
They can make that decision.
Wherever you're watching this, either subscribe or follow us. Give us a thumbs up or a 5-star rating, because that really, really helps us to get pushed on loads of other people so that they can also discover us.
We have Instagram, blonde_vibrations. We have TikTok, blonde vibrations. We have the website, blondevibrations.co.uk, and it's great, and it's really good content over there.
Yeah. If you have any requests or what you want us to talk about, if you have a dilemma, DM us or email us. You can stay anonymous.
Yes, just because we choose to name drop people in our lives doesn't mean we'll name drop you.
You're not being name dropped. And yeah,
I think that's everything.
yeah, thanks for watching or listening.
Enjoy the nice, sunny, brighter weather, longer days, happy clocks going forward, everyone. We never mentioned that, so congrats, we did it. Woohoo. Hope you're seeing those good friends of yours in that extra hour of time that we have in life. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye. Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey.